and Gina Pearson. That's the wife of Bishop Carlton Pearson. And there were a lot of comments. You want to know some of the comments you made? Let's talk about them right here on this Vintage Wisdom. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome to Vintage Wisdom. I'm Dr. Ed Montgomery. Vintage Wisdom is about wisdom that's vintage. In other words, instead of saying it's old wisdom, it's ancient. It's wisdom that comes from a higher plane, a higher source. In other words, it's something that's unique. Jesus called it new wine. And he says you don't put new wine into old wineskins or new wine into old bottles. Bottles at that particular time were like goat skins or sheep skin. So if you put new wine in there, because the wine was new, the gases would ferment. And if you had old wineskins, it means the wineskins had been stretched to their total limit. And if you put new wine in, the new wine would stretch it even further. And if you stretched it too far, it would burst because it had stretched to its limit. So that's what vintage wisdom is about. Vintage wisdom is about to take that new wine, that new fresh wine, how we think, how we look at things, turn it over like a Rubik's Cube, talk about it, say what's happening out there, and then see what you think and how you feel about those things. So make sure you share this, hit that like button, hit it before you even go any further. You're gonna like this, and I know you're gonna like it. So just go ahead and hit the like button so we don't have to keep making you like it. And we'll talk about it. Now, last week, the interview we did, and actually it wasn't an interview, it actually was a chat. You can go back and look at the previous Vintage Wisdom or the previous Vintage Wisdoms that are just before this one. And you can see the chat, the little conversation that I had with Gina Pearson, the wife of Bishop Carlton Pearson. It's so interesting that there were a lot of different comments. I mean, there were tens of thousands of you that responded and who saw and who liked this interview. Some liked, some didn't. More liked than they didn't. And there were comments all over the place, hundreds of comments all over the place. And some comments were, hey, this is fantastic. Some comments were, oh, I'm not sure if I agree with this or like this or believe in this. And listen, that's all right. It really is all right. I'm thinking 20 years ago, folk had issues with things. But nowadays, I believe it's time for us to dialogue, to talk. So some of the comments were great, fantastic. I loved his music. I loved his ministry. I loved his life. Some of the comments came in with some of the controversies. And one of the big controversies was his stance on, or Bishop Pearson's talking about, of hell. And so the question has been bantered back and forth. Do you believe in hell or don't you believe in hell? Tell me right now, do you believe there's a hell or do you not believe there's a hell? We need to know. And so that question is constantly even coming in, not on many sites, many religious sites, but many secular sites. Everybody has that question. Do you believe in hell or do you not believe in hell? So of course, that question is asked in our site and asked of me all the time. I've had it asked of me for 40 years. And as a matter of fact, I used to have people that said, you need to preach more about hell. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, you need to preach more about hell. Then they would say, you need to preach more about sin. Sin was another question that was brought up. Not that do you believe in sin? or, I mean, sin is sin. Sin means to miss the mark. We know what that means. Then other questions, do you believe there's a higher being, a higher power, a supreme being, a God, or do you believe in a God that is that has form, or do you believe in a God that is total spirit, or do you believe in God that's a human being just 10 times your size? These are wonderful questions. Wonderful. And so I'm going to turn these questions over and ask you. Now, let me pick one. Do you believe there's a hell? Now, that question is, first of all, that's a loaded question. And I'm not really here to answer it because, honestly, how do I tell you this? I think it's something for you to answer, those of you who watch. And the reason is because that's why this is called a chat. Chat means we chat, we discuss. So tell me what you think. Now, let me tell you, notice what I did. I didn't ask you, do you believe in hell? I asked you, what do you think? And here's the reason. When I was growing up, my grandmother had an old saying, and some of you are going to remember this saying, what I'm getting ready to say. And she would see folk on TV, or I remember her watching Richard Nixon when he got caught up in Watergate. And all these people in the government started getting caught up in Watergate. And she would see these news things, Walter Cronkite, and folks would get murdered, or war would start off, and people would hold hostages. All of this stuff was going on. And then in the local news, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally. Hello, Cleveland. If you're out there, say hi to me. Say Cleveland, type in, I'm from Cleveland. And I'm going to see it. And she would look at all the news that's going on in Cleveland and what was happening on the streets, who shot this person, who robbed the store, and here's what she would say. You're gonna remember this. She would say, looking at the TV, she'd say, "Lord have mercy, they gonna bust hell wide open." And she would say it, especially when there was folks that was doing some crazy stuff. I mean, some bad stuff. She would say, they gonna bust hell wide open. Then she would be talking to her friends and they'd be laughing about some people maybe who was hypocrites, or people who went to church, but then when they got out of church, they did some undercover whatever, things like that. And they would say on the phone, I would hear, "Child, they gonna bust hell wide open. I know they are." And I often wondered, what did she mean by bust hell wide open? So I thought about it, and what it meant was, whoever they were so horrible and were so consistently horrible that when they got to hell, they were going to be bigger than hell, so that when they got into hell, they so full of hell, is how she would say it, they're going to bust hell itself wide open. That's what she meant. Some of y'all know, look, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, type in this. That my grandmama used to say it, or my great grandmother, or my mother used to say it. I heard my auntie say it. Maybe some of y'all still say it. Let me know in the comments if you've said it, and let me know what city you're from, because I want to know. I want to know if you from the South, because if you're in the South, you may say that a lot more than folk from the North. I don't know, but let me know. So I used to listen to this all the time, and I thought about it. And I thought about, those people. Now, people talking about hell, there's a difference between what we believe and what we think. What I believe and what I think. There's a difference between what you believe and what you think. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. The word belief is too definitions. One definition is a lot more modern, and we picked it up basically from the 1600s, from the Shakespearean plays up until now. And actually, that word belief we pick up concerning the scientific method. Actually, science picked that word up about belief. And belief means mental assent, the acceptance of something in your mind. It doesn't have to be real or unreal or true. It is how you accept it. In other words, somebody told you 2 + 2 = 4. Now, you don't know that. You haven't done the calculations, but you accept it. If you kept, challenging everything, you would never, we would never move forward. What is the sun? 93 million miles away. The sun is 93 million miles away from the earth. Okay, you go to school, write that on the paper, you're going to get an A. How do you know the sun is 93 million miles from the earth? Have you measured it? Have you done the math for it? Have you done the trigonometry? Have you done the advanced mathematics? Have you done the algebraic equations? Well, no. But that's what they said. Okay. And so basically that's what we accept. Or it has been termed that's what we believe. So we're believing something that we don't really know is true. How can we know it? Because we can't measure it. Science, we leave that to them. They can measure it. But there's another definition of the word belief. And that definition is ancient. See, that's where we get that vintage wisdom. Pull on up, come on, pull up. I'm going to pour you some of this fresh new wine, this new Christ wine. And it's the word belief. Belief comes from the word pistis, or the verb form of it, pisteo, which means to engage, to connect with, to trust, to follow. Are you catching my drift? This is the original meaning of the word belief. And that word belief, pistis or pisteo, when they started translating it out of the Aramaic and the Greek, because pistis and pisteo is Greek, and they had to take it when they were translating the Bible, take it into the Latin, which came into the word credo. Now, that was only just that possession of it, credo, but they had to have a verb form. They could have used opinor, which means I hold an opinion. See? A mental opinion. But they didn't use it. So credo moved into beluven. Beluven comes out of a German word. Shakespeare used the word accepting my beluf, my beluven, my beloved. So we understand something, what belief means. Belief means beloved. It means to bind oneself with something else. So belief means to place an engagement ring on someone, to believe in them, to connect with them. Belief in its ancient form means to engage oneself. It means to trust, not blindly trust, but it means to follow. What did Jesus ask us to do? To blindly believe in him? That's the new word. Or to follow him. That ancient word of belief means to follow him. What did he tell Peter? Follow me. What did he tell? And Peter said, I'm a sinner. I'm a whole rank sinner. I will cuss you out. That's what Peter did. He cussed people out. Jesus said, follow me. In other words, hang out with me. Connect with me. And I will make you fishers of men. In other words, as you connect with me, you will experience transformation. Are you following me here? So, rather than to ask me what I believe, which I know people are dealing with that mental assent, I need to know what definition of belief you have, because real belief or real faith, and faith is the same word, pisteo. Real belief, real faith means to engage, to connect, to be bound to trust, to be engaged with. Wow. So when somebody says to me, do you believe in hell? I look around and I say, what are you asking me? Am I engaged with hell? Am I connecting to hell? Am I following hell? See, it doesn't quite that phrase don't compute with me. Now, evildoers going there. I believe there's some folks, some evil folk out there, just like my grandmama said, gonna bust hell wide open. I don't know where it is, but they gonna bust it open. See how I use that word belief up there? But if you want to ask me about my engagement, how many of you follow Jesus? How many of you connect with Jesus and are every day trying to be better in your follow and in your walk with him? How many of you are? I'm going to ask you a question. The closer you get to Christ, how much are you thinking about hell? How can you love something that you fear the other thing, but because you fear the other person, you're going to run to the other person and not believe that the other person can protect you from what you fear? And you know what? No. Tell me what you think. Wait, I'll be right back. Watch this. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Okay? Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. I know I'm not supposed to be interrupting right here, but remember, myalc.org. That's myalc.org. And you can also give at 713-742-2035. You can use your text to give or use your app. If you're on the app, you can go right to that donate button and it won't change anything. You say, why in the world would you break my concentration? I'm sorry, but I wanted you to remember, because you know what? Just like there's a break in here, there's also going to be a breakthrough in your life. I believe that. Now, let's go back. All right, we're back now. Here comes the question. It's not about what do you believe. It's about what do you think. What do you think is out there? Do you think there is a hell? There isn't a hell? There might be? I mean, we sure feel the effects of hell on this planet. Tell me, what do you think? I believe right now our faith needs to be about thinking, people. Thinking. What do you think? What do you think about, well, I'm not going to throw all the rest of the other things in there. You can just think about that. But more than anything, what do you think about your relationship with God? What do you think about that? Isn't that cool? Whatever it is, post it. I want to see it. Let's talk to each other. Now, if you're going to write a novel on the chat, write the book first and let us know, and I'll tell them about the book. You know, kind of keep it a little short, you know. We can't read all that. It's long. Okay? Love you. Till next time. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dr. Ed. We've been on this journey for over 40 years. Some have been there with us for almost 40. Some have just started this journey with us. But what we've been able to do is help people to find joy, peace, enlightenment. They have grown tremendously, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and it's all because of your contributions, your help. our journey on this road. Take a moment, make a contribution at myalc.org. That's myalc.org. That's our website. That's our main place where you're even able to watch our show on Sunday mornings. Not only that, but you can also give through our app. And you can download that app from Google Play, or you can download it from the App Store by just typing in Abundant Life Center, or you can type in Ed Montgomery and the Abundant Life Center app will pop up and you can download it. It only takes a few moments, and you can have that way. You can carry it with you on your phone and your iPads and all those kind of good things. Not only that, but you can also do text to give. That's very popular because people are able to give if they forget to be on their website or their app. They can just give right on the spot, real fast, real quick. Sometimes they do text to give even when we're inside of a church service. And you can do that by texting to 713-742-2035. That's 713-742-2035. Or you could give through our P.O. Box. Safe, sound, secure. You can give, you can make sure you put a stamp on the envelope, but you can, write us a little note, drop me a little note, whatever you want to do, and mail it. There are some folks that's just, hey, I'm just going to mail this. And you can mail your contribution, and that's to the Abundant Life Center, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas, 77215. I'm going to say it again. That's that old radio thing. You got to say it twice. Abundant Life Center, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas, 77215. Continue on this journey with us. And if you're new for the first time, start this journey with us. I promise you, not only will it change your life, but you'll change the life of so many around you. And that'll make you feel real good inside. Thanks. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash it, crash it,